I was with a group of friends as they were all telling ghost stories. Once it got to be my turn, they stared at me, waiting until I started. I cleared my throat to begin as we heard a loud knocking coming from the garage. We all shrugged it off, thinking it was something from the park next to the house. I was around 5 or 6, and I couldn't sleep since my family was being loud and the hallway was echoing with laughter. So I leaned over the bunk bed to see if my little brother was awake, and I saw something coming from the closet as it crawled under the bed. I was scared, not really knowing what it was, so I pulled the blanket over my head. After calming, I slowly pulled it down to see the spirit on the ceiling before it turned its head 180 degrees to face me. I was frozen with fear, and I couldn't pull up the blanket, so the only thing I could do was close my eyes. When I reopened them, I called for my mom to come into the room. When she did, the spirit was gone, and she told me to sleep. Feeling that I was safe, knowing that she said that, I left my arm hang over the edge of the bed. But as soon as I did, I felt its hand wrap around my forearm. Beginning to panic, I somehow had the strength to fight against it as it tried to pull me into the bed. The spirit gave up after a little bit of a struggle, so I reached down and opened the door without getting out of bed as I jumped into the hallway. I ran to my parents, telling them that something was in there. My mom got some holy water and gently began to throw it around the room while saying a prayer. When she was done, I got back into my bed and felt like whatever it was long gone, and I could finally sleep. When I was done telling my story, all my friends were just wide-eyed before jumping slightly at the same knocking from the garage. We all got up from the couch to go and see what it was, but there was nothing there. So we were going to leave when a shadow rushed past us. We all turned around, hoping someone from the group didn't do it just for laughs, but everyone was accounted for. "Well, let's go back and watch a movie," Caleb said. The rest of the group nodded as we stepped into the living room before the lights went out in the house. A few were shaken, except for me, Caleb, and Bobby. We used our phones to light the way to the fuse box to see if the fuses were missing. "We should split up to find them quicker," Kevin said. While 2 searched in the house, the rest went outside to see if they rolled into the front yard. The rest of my friends were Eric, Hugo, and Alan. We searched the rest of the house before we gave up and just met in the backyard. We all sat in a circle around a fire to keep us warm, since it was a pretty chilly night. We kept hearing noises from inside the home. Hugo had ventured into the darkness, since he needed to use the restroom. Everyone else just waited for him to return, but after what seemed like half an hour, we all went to see if he had gotten lost. But the only thing left was one of his shoes. While we were going around looking for him, Kevin ran to meet us, saying that he saw something take Alan into the closet. Everyone looked at one another before going to the closet to see if he was playing a prank on us. But no one was there. Alan was gone. Eric heard Alan and Hugo calling from the attic, so we got a ladder and let him go up. He used his phone to see if he could see them. But me, Caleb, Bobby, and Kevin, we all backed off when we heard him scream in pain. The only things left were his phone and a splash of blood on the floor. Not knowing what was going on, we started to run towards the front door. But we stopped once we saw the blood on the wall, saying, "Don't leave. We are just having fun." We knew it was going to come back, so we began to rush to the door. But we stood there in shock, seeing that it was just a wall now. That's impossible. There's no way a wall can be here in a matter of seconds, Kevin stated. We went back to the living room and stood back to back, so that way we could see whatever it was, picking us off one by one. We looked at the time. It was almost 1 a.m. and we were struggling to stay awake. But our eyes went wide as we heard dark laughter. Caleb ran towards the sound as Kevin went away from it, and both screamed in the darkness. I closed my eyes, hearing the screaming of my friends all the time before I felt a cold breeze and the screaming stopped. I looked around, seeing that I was transported to the old woods where I used to live. I had been walking for a couple minutes before seeing that my phone died. I knew it was coming after me. I went towards the only place I knew would have lights and a phone so I can call someone. After feeling like I had ran for hours, I tried to rest under the warm glow of a streetlight. But as I rested, I noticed the lights down the street going out. I started to run again, but soon I felt something grab my leg. I fell as I tried to get free, and my eyes widened as I saw that it grabbed me, dragging me into the darkness as I let out a blood-curdling scream.